Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling an engine that's both one of the simplest and one of the fastest ever made. I'm talking about the Ramjet, and honestly, it's a piece of high-speed engineering that kind of feels like it shouldn't work at all.
So, this thing has earned a pretty great nickname over the years, the flying stovepipe. Seriously, and when you look at one, it makes total sense. It's basically just a hollow tube, a pipe. But don't let that simple shape fool you. This pipe is hiding a pretty powerful secret.
And yeah, that really gets to the heart of the puzzle here, doesn't it? How on earth can an engine with basically zero moving parts, no spinning turbines, no whirring compressors, how can that create enough power to blast through the sky at several times the speed of sound? Well, let's dig in and find out.
Okay, so the secret is right there in the name, Ramjet. It's an air-breathing engine, sure, but here's the key difference from a normal jet engine. It has no mechanical compressor. It doesn't need one. Instead, it uses its own insane forward speed to literally ram air into the front, building up all the pressure it needs all by itself.
All right, so let's break down how this flying stovepipe actually works. It's this really elegant, simple cycle that basically just turns speed into, well, more speed. Okay, so here's the three-step dance. First up, compression. Air gets slammed into the front of the engine at supersonic speeds. The inside of the engine is cleverly shaped to slow that air down, and when you slow down fast-moving air, its pressure skyrockets. Step 2, combustion. Fuel gets sprayed into that super hot, high-pressure air and boom, it ignites. Now here's a cool little detail, the flame holders. The air is moving so ridiculously fast through this tube that the flame would just get blown right out the back. So these holders act like a little shield, creating a stable zone for the flame to burn continuously. It's kind of like trying to keep a match lit in a hurricane. And finally, expansion. All those superheated gases have nowhere to go but out the back. They expand and blast out of the nozzle at incredible velocity, and that's what creates all that forward thrust.
So this design sounds pretty brilliant, right? Simple, powerful, but there's a catch. A really, really big one, actually. And this one limitation completely defines where and how you can even use a ramjet.
And here it is. A ramjet produces absolutely zero thrust standing still. Nada. Zilch. Think about it. Its whole trick relies on forward speed to ram air inside. So if you're not moving, you get no air compression, which means no combustion, which means you're not going anywhere. It literally cannot start from a dead stop.
So how do you get around that problem? Well, you give it a push. A ramjet basically needs a piggyback ride to get started. You have to use a separate engine, almost always a big booster rocket, to accelerate the whole thing up to supersonic speeds. That rocket does all the heavy lifting to get it off the ground and moving fast. Then, once it's hit the right speed, the rocket drops away and the ramjet kicks in to do its thing for the rest of the trip.
And this is super important to understand. A ramjet has a sweet spot where it works best. As you can see here, down at subsonic speeds, it's pretty useless, really inefficient. But get it flying between Mach 3 and Mach 6, that's 3 to 6 times the speed of sound, and bam, it's in its prime. It becomes incredibly efficient. But if you try to push it too fast, say above Mach 6, you run into another problem. The air getting rammed in becomes so hot and compressed that the fire inside gets unstable, and its performance just plummets.
So to really get a feel for where the Ramjet fits in, it helps to look at the whole engine family tree. You've got its more conventional cousin, the turbojet, and then you've got its wilder, faster sibling, the scramjet.
The biggest difference between a turbojet and a ramjet boils down to just one thing: how they compress air. A turbojet, the kind you see on a regular airplane, is full of complex, spinning fan blades. It's a mechanical brute, physically squeezing the air. A ramjet, it just throws all of that away. It says, nope, don't need it, and uses the pure physics of its own speed, that ram effect, to do the exact same job, just way simpler. And this chart lays it all out perfectly. Look at the turbojet. Lots of moving parts, can start from zero. Perfect for your everyday airliner. Then you have our guy, the ramjet. No moving parts, can't start by itself, and loves that Mach 3 to 6 sweet spot. And then there's the scramjet. It's the next level. It takes the ramjet idea and cranks it up to 11, operating at hypersonic speeds. We're talking Mach 6 and beyond. Its trick is somehow keeping a flame lit while the air inside the engine is still moving faster than the speed of sound. Just wild.
Okay, so this isn't just some cool theory on a whiteboard. Ramjet tech has been a real-world player in high-speed flight for a long, long time. So let's talk about where you actually find these things in action.
The idea has been around for over a century.
A French inventor named René Loren patented it way back in 1913, but it took a while to actually get one in the air. That didn't happen until 1949 with an aircraft called the Leduc .10. The technology really found its calling, though, during the Cold War. It was the perfect engine for super-fast surface-to-air missiles like the American Beaumark and the British Sea Dart.
And that legacy continues today. The Ramjet is still the go-to choice when you need to build a really fast missile. Things like the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile or the Meteor air-to-air missile, they all use ramjets. It's what gives them that blistering speed and range to catch targets that a normal jet-powered missile just couldn't touch.
So let's wrap this up with a big picture thought. That simple, almost laughably basic idea of the flying stovepipe, just using speed to create even more speed, is the direct granddaddy of the scramjet engines that are now at the cutting edge of hypersonic research. So as we dream about a future where you could fly from New York to London in maybe a couple of hours, isn't it wild to think that the engine that gets us there might just be a descendant of this beautifully simple hollow tube? Something to think about.